In a detailed presentation, Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma shed light on the pressing challenges in the state's education sector while outlining the government's efforts to address them. Highlighting the stark realities, he emphasized the need for informed decision-making to improve the quality of education. He informed that Meghalaya, with a population of 29.66 lakh as per the 2011 census, has 14,582 schools and 55,160 teachers as compared to other northeastern states with similar population that have lesser schools. He shared that of these schools, there are 206 schools with zero enrollment and 2,269 schools with single-digit enrollment. He also noted that teachers' salaries form a major chunk of the expenditure on education sector, with Rs 1,967 crore allocated annually. Of this, Rs 917 crore is spent on salaries of teachers in government-aided private schools, while Rs 684 crore is allocated for teachers in government schools. However, challenges in the sector extend beyond finances. The Chief Minister highlighted the low pass percentages in matriculation exams, with over 50% of students failing to clear their exams and several schools recording a zero pass percentage. He stated that the government is going into the depth of the issue to understand the root causes. The Chief Minister concluded by reiterating the government's commitment to ensuring that the right information reaches the public, enabling them to understand the holistic picture of the challenges and the efforts of the government in the education sector.
So education is an older slide. I don't want to spend too much of time in it, but I thought that it's good to understand what's happening. I have given this presentation last time in the inauguration, or I should say the official launch of Captain Williamson Sangma State University. These are just some figures and some numbers to share with you the challenges that education faces and why is it that we are in the position that we are today. There is of course about 100 slides, but I chose to only pick up 6 to 7 of them because I thought that's more relevant right now. And I don't want to go too much into details, but just to share that you're just going to see tip of the iceberg. There's much more complication than what you're going to see. First slide. Yeah, so this is the population of Meghalaya and the other northeast states comparatively based on 2011 census. So you can see Tripura is about 36 lakhs, Meghalaya is about 29 lakhs, Manipur is about 25 lakhs, Nagaland about 19 lakhs, Arunachal 13 lakhs, and Mizoram 10 lakhs. This is 2011 census. Next. These are the number of schools that each states have in relation to the population that we have. Wait. Just hold on. So, Tripura with a population of 36 lakhs has got 4,900 schools. And you don't need to write it down, no need to click it. We're going to give you this presentation hard copy. We're going to share this with you. And Meghalaya has 14,000 schools for a population of 29. Manipur has 4,600 schools, so on and so forth. And you can clearly see out here that Meghalaya is completely off the charts. We have 14,582 schools in Meghalaya for a population of 29,000. Now, why this has happened? That's how things have happened in the last 53 years. It's just kept building on and on and on and on. It's a good thing, but it has got its own challenges. So, but it's just to show you the, the stark contrast between the number of schools that are there, which Meghalaya has to manage compared to other states in the northeast. Next. These are the number of teachers that are there in our schools. This is all the teachers put together. So you can again see that Meghalaya is way ahead. So of course Manipur also has a large number of 42,000 teachers. We have about 55,000 teachers. Again, having large schools and large number of teachers is not a bad thing. I'm not trying to say that this is a bad thing for us, but we're just trying to show you that comparatively to other states with similar population, we have more schools than the other states. Just a comparison. Next. This is an important slide. Out of these 14,000 schools in Meghalaya, 7,783 are government. So you know the terminology government LP schools. So that's what government LP, government UP, government secondary, higher secondary schools are there. And again, you can see the rest of the states, they have, that's the government at these schools. Next. This is an interesting slide. These are the aided schools. Sorry. These are the aided schools. These are private schools, basically, which are aided by government. What we mean by that is the terminology which most of you will understand and will relate to. These are basically what we call the ad hoc schools and the deficit schools. So ad hoc schools and deficit schools that get support from the government, these schools are 4,172. So states like Nagaland are zero, and Manipur and other states have quite less numbers. So we have a lot of aided schools which are private, which is, as I said, the ad hoc schools and the deficit schools that are there. Next. Just go back once. Again, this will show you that states like Nagaland, they don't aid any private school. States like Tripura, they aid only 43 schools. States like Arunachal, only 68. Manipur aids give aid to about 583 schools. We give support and financial aid to 4,172 schools in Meghalaya. This again has happened through the years. Next. Rough idea about enrollment. So right now, there are 206 schools which don't have a single student. And yet, salaries are being paid for the teachers who are supposed to teach in those schools. There are 2,269 schools with just single-digit enrollment, which means there's only one student or two students or three students studying there, and we could be having close to 4 teachers teaching out there, and government is paying salaries, whether it's a government-aided school or whether it's a government school. Next. Similarly, there's the aided school. These are the deficit and ad hoc schools. So there are 18 government-aided schools, which are deficit and ad hoc schools, where the enrollment is zero right now, and 1,141 schools where we give aid, deficit as well as ad hoc. Exact breakup is not here right now, which have single-digit enrollment. So those are for government. Those are all the schools. These are for specifically government-aided schools. Again, just to give you an idea that a large number of schools, some of them don't have. So 206 schools don't have a single student. Yet today, government of Meghalaya is paying salaries for the teachers. Next. There are 30 SSS schools which don't have a single student studying there, and 268 schools with single digits. Next. Again, it's a breakup of, that's the first part. In government, there are 11 government schools which have zero enrollment, 132 schools which have a single enrollment. Next. This is a very interesting slide. This is the amount of money that we spend for the education salaries we pay to teachers every year. Totally, we pay 1,967 crores are paid as salaries for teachers in the state government. Out of this 1,697 crores, I think I'd like to draw your attention to the first row, which shows that the private schools, again, I just reiterate, private schools, we mean government-aided schools. GIA is government-aided schools. These are schools basically which are, again, ad hoc and deficit schools. So the grants that we give amounts to 917 crores that we give annually. And the government teachers, we pay 684 crores. So government schools teachers, we pay lesser means the numbers are lesser. So the amount that goes into paying the teachers there is lesser because of the fact that the number of schools in the private, the aid that we give is much larger. So you can see out here that, so SSA is about 366 crores. So government aided schools gets close to about 50% of the budget that we spend. 35% goes to government schools, and SSA gets about 18% of the budget in terms of salaries that we spend. Next. This is just to give an idea to you about the colleges. So again, this is the government-aided colleges. So private colleges where we give aid to, that means financial support, again deficit pattern, ad hoc pattern. 83% of that goes to this private colleges that are there in our state. Again, you can see the amount goes to about 179 crores a year in terms of salaries. Government colleges, the salary is only 37 crores. These are all government-aided colleges, the larger colleges in and around Shillong. Most of these colleges are around Shillong. I have the list with me, but I don't want to share that with you right now. So these are the colleges that we there. So we pay, government pays, as I said, and out of these 179 crores, 13 of the private colleges get 121 crores from government of Meghalaya every year for salary payment, every year. Next. This is a sad picture. This is what's been happening in the last many years from 2015 to 2024. This is the average pass percentage. We've been trying our best. It's a systematic problem that we faced. We tried to get into the depth of why this is happening, and we realized that everything from the issues of the quality at the primary level, secondary level, all those, and upper primary level, all those issues were there, and many other issues were there, which we are working on. The course materials that is there, making it better, the examination patterns. So after examining all of these things, we have come to a point. We're hoping that in the coming exams and the future exams also, at least we'll be able to see some improvement in these numbers. But this is what is very critical to note. And what my concern here, of course, is that if you look at this, about 50%, that means close to about, as I said here, if you can see, almost about 25,000 students, they don't pass the metric exam. And you can imagine not passing a metric exam, what kind of emotional as well as, a career kind of damage that goes to them. So we're very concerned about this, and we'd like to see these numbers go up. So I just wanted to share this with you to express the challenges we face. It's been hovering around this for the last decade. Next. Again, this is another figure. 2022, 118 schools, we had 0 pass percentage. 2023, 146 schools, we had 0 pass percentage. 2024, 124 schools had 0 pass percentage. That means not a single student from class 10 passed. And out of these schools, 36 schools are there. For the last 3 years, they've not had anybody who passed, in spite of whatever support we've been giving to them. So these are facts and figures. Again, this is nothing to, nothing to discuss about, but I think this gives a slight picture, of what kind of a situation that is there and how much money is being spent in which sector, and how we are now trying to, with this kind of a background, we are trying to take very, very tough decisions, difficult decisions, difficult choices that we have to make in order to move forward in how to improve the overall education sector. So this is just information. I will share this with you. I think this is the last slide. Next.
Last one.
Yeah. Okay. It's just information with you. You can go through this. Next time when we catch up again next week, when we're sitting down here and having tea again, you can ask me more questions about this. So I'll be sharing these numbers with you. Then maybe I may give you more numbers next week also, but I'll leave you with these thoughts. So this is the first slide of schools, and each category, of course, has got different challenges that are there. So we have realized that, and slowly and steadily we are in the process of merging as many as possible. But again, the kind of classifications that have been made are just too many, and the kind of salary, benefits, and grants that are being given to different categories are different in nature. And hence, even if you want to now merge 2 of them or 3 of them, which is what we would want to do ideally, but then comes the financial impact of that decision, because then you have to come out with a unified pay scale or salaries or whatever there is. To draw your attention again, just go back to the presentation. Just to again share with you. So now we have this one, the private school, number 5. Yeah, so this says a lot, So most of the categorization is in the private schools. And, as I said again, we spend about 917 crores giving salaries for these private schools. These are not owned by government. I keep repeating, the basic categorization of schools is only the government schools, SSA schools, and all the rest of the schools are private schools. SSA is more or less government type. It's government, central government and state government funded, and the assets also belong to the state government. But in terms of those private schools, which I mentioned at top, these are purely privately managed, privately owned schools. The assets are owned by the private managing committee. The school is run by them. The managing committee also is majorly constituted of the private entity. But government supports them in terms of salaries, money to be given to them to run their school. So we pay some part of the salaries. If it's deficit, then we give a certain pay scale. If it is ad hoc, then we pay a certain grant. Now within these also there are multiple categories of schools which are there. And as I said, trying to bring 2-3 categories together means that we'll have to see the benefits and the perks and the salaries we're giving. Then we'll have to give the standard to all of them. And once we start doing that, the impact of that goes to hundreds of crores. So therefore the decision is not so simple. What I'm trying to say is that even now, without touching these things, we're still paying 917. If we were to bring a uniformity, that number may go up to about 1,500 crores. So that's the kind of a decision that we have to think of. I'm not saying it will be 1,500, but I'm just giving you a number, plus minus it could be. But that's the challenge in actually coming to a decision like that, because it has huge financial implications. Well, if I simply go into private, as I said, all the rest are private. But now if I were to bring all the privates together in one category, the impact would be in hundreds of crores. And so the decision is very simple. I can do it right now. But then where do I get the budget from? When we're already paying 917 crores here and not being able to, and then seeing the rest of the amounts are lesser, it's a tough decision. It's a tough call. And therefore, we are working, we are discussing, we are seeing how we can come to some kind of a conclusion. Maybe we may have to go in a phase-wise manner. Maybe we may need to restructure the whole thing. But we are in talks, and then we are trying to discuss with different organizations how to go about it. Now, if we were to, as I said, deficits get higher, the ad hoc grants are lower. So shall I bring the deficit down or shall I bring the ad hoc up? Both are equally challenging. Both will not agree. Now, even if I bring both of them up, so if I bring the ad hoc to deficit, that's going to lead to a financial implication of about 250 plus crores. So we're already at 917. You're talking of 1100 crores to 1200 crores. So that's the kind of impact that is there. So it's not as simple. So all I'm trying to say is that all of these things, thought process has been going on for a very long time. But I thought it's good to share this data so that one understands. So tomorrow when somebody says we're not being given this, that, you'll understand the scale that we are talking about. It's massive. This is the highest ever. Imagine if it's 917 crores amount, the amount of infrastructure works that we can do. Of course, I mean, schools need it. I'm not saying that we don't need it. We do need it. But I think somewhere along the line, we need to see how we can efficiently utilize all of this. So the amount of money we spend, maybe the results we're getting are not up to the mark. So therefore, we have to work a lot. We'll work with all private schools, government schools, SSS schools, and we'll see how to move forward in it. Again, as I said, I repeat once again, there is no conclusion in this. I'm just giving you facts for your knowledge. No, these are schools. These are ad hoc schools. These are deficit schools. And they are doing their job. So you cannot deny that. You cannot say that they are not doing anything. They are working. They have a responsibility. They are fulfilling their responsibility. It's not that they are not. And we don't have any complaints against them. There are some who are doing excellently well. Some they need to work a bit better and improve. Similarly, government LP schools also need to improve. So they're doing exactly what government schools do, which is to provide education. As I said, so therefore there's nothing wrong in this. Again, I repeat again and again. So don't quote me wrong when I say that this is the problem. This is not the problem. I'm just telling you the facts, that's all. But then one should know that this is the amount of money that goes into running the education system. So the ad hoc schools, deficit schools are doing a great job. They are really giving the education to the children. As I said, some are doing excellently well and some not that great. But somewhere along the line, after doing all of this, and as I said, this is a legacy, it built up. So when I used to tell you all the time that, guys, there's a problem in education because it's something that has been building up for many years, you couldn't relate to it. You used to say, like, again, Conrad is blaming the past government. So I'm not trying to blame. I'm bringing you facts now to show you that this is what the situation is. And again, we need to work together. All schools, whether it's government or private schools, wherever it is, we need to figure out ways in which we can improve the overall performance, focus on the students more, and really see how we can take the education sector forward. So again, reiterating, these are the challenges and the scale that we face, but a lot of work has to be done. No complaints against anybody. Everybody is doing their job. All ad hoc schools, private schools also are doing their work. Some not that good, some very good. It's not created now, but it continues.
No,
that is what we call
it. As if the problem is being created only now.
No, thank you for saying that, but the problem is not created now. It has been there for the last many, many years and it's been building up for decades. All we have done is that we have put a lid on it now. We're not allowing it to get any bigger. That's why a lot of complaints still come to us about, not giving the permissions, and just to share with you, we had recently come out with guidelines saying that schools that apply for ad hoc grant or deficit grant, just to share with you, before the guidelines that we came out with, there were no guidelines on the basis of which a school would be given ad hoc grant. So simple things like we said that if it's a school in the city, these many acres or square feet of land should be there. If it's in rural areas, this many square feet or things should be there. These are the number of qualified teachers you should have. This is the kind of building that you should have. These are the kind of technology that you should be having, and you should be having the parent-teacher meeting and the administration meeting on a regular basis. Then reports of that should be sent to the state government. So we came out with norms that would identify the basis on which we would select schools to be given ad hoc grants or deficit grants. These guidelines should have been made many, many years back. So sometimes in some places, some ad hoc grants were given, as you said correctly, on the basis of whatever desire an individual had at the point where it was in the political circle then. And permissions were given and ad hoc grants were given. There could be some schools which had just 2 students and just was functioning from one room, and they would also be given ad hoc grant. So those kind of things happened. Again, I don't think it's in any way worth now going into why that happened and it shouldn't have happened. We can keep complaining about it. I think what's important to figure out is what do we do about it. Therefore, we are in the process. I am sharing this with you just to share with you the scale of and magnitude of the problems that we face. And we are, in fact, for the last many years, why we came out with the Education Commission. The Education Commission, when they saw these numbers, even they were taken aback. And more numbers than this, which I'm not sharing with you, more micro details, which again, if you see, you'll be even more surprised. That comes up to close to, earlier it was about 40 to 50 crores before before my government. And we have increased that amount. Says I don't have the exact figure with me right now in terms of the percentage, but roughly the collection increased to about 70 to 80 crores. That cess money is being used for the education mission. It is with that money now that we are building the government LP school buildings. So I don't have that presentation right now. I'll give it to you next time. So we'll continue this education presentation next time. But you know that there are about 2,000 plus LP schools, government LP schools, and we have either renovated or we have sanctioned new buildings for all of them in the last 6 years. All of them. And that is the money has come from the cess that you mentioned. In the past, it was never utilized for education or for building grants, but we started it. And now with the help of that money, almost all the government LP schools, again, grant in aid, we're giving them salaries, but the buildings we are not giving. Buildings I give once in a while from, say, my CMSDF scheme, or if they ask for some grants which we give from, say, central government once in a while. But there's no uniform grant for schools which are private in nature. It is ad hoc and deficit. We don't have the money for it.